to Akufo-Addo and cabal. Insight. Palestine ambassador joins global condemnation of Israeli atrocities in occupied lands. Palestine ambassador joins global condemnation of Israeli atrocities in occupied lands. 2020 election violence, Care Ghana, that is Care for Free and Fair Elections Ghana, rejects EC's position on death of 7. Akufo-Addo's Ghana, 100 days of despair and disappointment. 100 days of despair and disappointment. Thunder. Dad suspects foul play in suicide story. I'm sure you know the young, beautiful girl who allegedly took her own life in one of the schools, one of the senior high schools in Ghana, I think about 2 days ago or so. Soldiers ordered to crash midnight galamseyas. Nana Addo grabs 170 million euros, I beg your pardon, for new bank. The business analyst. Bullish investor sentiment returns to the GSE, biggest equity price gains over first 4 months of the year since 2018, but price growth shows in April. And banks prepare to recognize Ghana card as main identification for transactions. What happens to the ID cards then? What happens to the voters' ID cards? What happens to our passport? There should be some connection there somehow. You cannot simply throw away all these other forms of identification, primarily because you want to promote the Ghana card. It doesn't work that way. Forex bidders refuse long-tenured future deliveries. And yeah, okay. Daybreak. Hell in Asankragwa. National security operatives slap, handcuff immigration officers. O241's Owabi River dredged. Asabi tasks CEOs on leadership. 170 million for Development Bank, secured by Akufo-Addo. Supreme newspaper. Supreme. Extra gold mining to sue government over breach of mining laws. Ghana Gas CEO hailed for constructing AstroTurf pitches for communities. Bujumbura must go down. Go chief elders demand amid increasing criminal activities. Are we not sure that they want to take over the lands and sell them? Government to commence dredging of Barekese and Owabi rivers. Debt to force tore out of operation. And New Crusading Guy this morning says Akufo-Addo secures 170 million euro for Ghana's new development bank. Our operations are legal. Extra Gold Ghana Mining Limited reveals Akufo-Addo's misdemeanor led to his expulsion. National security. Speed up dredging works in Owabi River. Otumfuo urges government implementation of safe sea access framework will protect industry players. Petroleum Commission boss and Begro youth on rampage demand removal of DCE. The Meridian. Akufo-Addo's misdemeanor in office cause contract termination. Nana Addo secures 170 million euros for new national bank. Ningo Prampram DC provides facelift for deplorable community school. These are the newspapers this morning. Let me quickly open the phone lines. I think it's important to touch on the Electoral Commissioner and what she's been saying regarding the 2020 elections and its related activities. It's very important that we hear from you, the viewers, so that we judge and find out whether or not they are fit for the purpose for which we the Ghanaian people gave them the mandate to run the affairs of conducting elections in this country. So yeah, let's activate the phone lines now and then have just about 3, 4, 5 calls, yeah, and then yeah, we can deal with the other issues. But I think we've tabled some topics for our conversation. Government European Investment Bank signs 170 million euros for DBG. Galamsey wreaks havoc, rivers devastated in the eastern and western regions. Daily Graphic reported this one. I'm sure you know that it's off the back of some activities being embarked on by the Lands Minister, Honorable Abu Jinapo. Tama oil refineries collapse imminent. The refinery cannot pay even its water bill. JWSC has disconnected them 2 weeks ago. Palestine ambassador joins global condemnation of Israeli atrocities in occupied lands. Now, I just simply wanted to touch on this other very important topic on the front. Are the phone lines activated? Yes? Okay. Akufo-Addo's Ghana, 100 days of despair and disappointment. I think there's also a very important topic for us to touch on. It's captured on the front page of the Insight newspaper this morning. And so we will try to look at that particular story as well. What do you make of Nana Addo's 100 days in office? Perhaps I should rather pose that question, because everything finds expression in that. It flows from the elections. So yeah, perhaps we can we can touch on that. Akufo-Addo's Ghana, 100 days of despair and disappointment. Is that a case, or you think Ghana is better off in this first quarter of Nana Addo's second term? What do you make of Nana Addo's administration in the second term? Factoring into the equation COVID-19. Hello, good morning. Nope. Okay, all right. So why am I getting feedback? Anyway, but I love hearing my voice, by the way. So yeah. So yeah, Akufo-Addo's Ghana, 100 days of despair and disappointment. Is that the case? Now, that story is on page 3. I think it's important that I just read a little bit of the story, which is in the Inside newspaper. Making the first 100 days in office is a political culture that originated from the United States of America. And many use the occasion to evaluate the performance of new presidents. Historically, the practice originated from the presidency of Franklin D. Roosevelt. And the 32nd president of the United States of America. He was elected in the midst of a Great Depression where America suffered its worst economic crisis in history. According to historians, within the first 100 days of his administration, despite the overwhelming crisis before the country, President Roosevelt successfully orchestrated a complete break. Hello?
Hello.
Hi, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Big Boy Coming.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Please tell me. I'm doing absolutely fantastic. Tell me your beautiful name and where you are calling me from.
This is your old guy, Raphael. I'm calling from Tema right now.
Hi, Raphael, how are you? How would you evaluate Nana Addo's 100 days in office?
Nana Addo, I don't know the kind of word for me to use in describing his first 100 days, but for the sake of people, I would have to be polite and say he's a failure.
He's a failure?
Yeah, Akufo-Addo is a failure. And why am I saying this? Akufo-Addo hasn't been able to demonstrate all he said to Ghanaians, you know, when it comes to protecting the security of this country. Akufo-Addo hasn't been able to honor to Ghanaians the words he said, that he's going to make sure that he provides jobs for the people, give hope for the youth, so that I was in Dukwa on offense when Akufo-Addo came there to campaign, telling the people that Ghanaian youth have been traveling outside the country to Qatar, to Kuwait, to all these singing countries, because there are no jobs, because the Mahama administration made sure that the country becomes very tough, and they were only the people enjoying. But he is going to make sure that Ghanaian youth will love their country and live in their country. Today, if any airline company should bring their plane to our airport, asking Ghanaian youth to come and join without visas, I don't think there will be any youth left in Ghana. I don't think so. Because we are really suffering. The youth in Ghana are really suffering. Let me wrap up and go. But before then, there has been this concern I saw on social media last week or something, that United Airlines is working in Ghana right now. They are in operation in Ghana right now. And we had the aviation minister at the airport celebrating it. But in 2018, 2019, Kwame, I want us to, or when I say us, I mean Pan African TV, to hold this very well and investigate into it. In 2018, 2019, Akufo-Addo and the minister went to Dubai to sign a contract with Boeing for a memorandum of understanding that they will be buying airplanes 8 airplanes, sorry, for Ghana. Up to date, as we are speaking, that airplanes that were purchased in the name of Ghana is not yet in operations. But Ghanaians are celebrating United Airlines.
Well, these are very interesting perspectives there. Right, thank you.
Why are the airplanes Akufo-Addo promised that he will be buying for Ghana?
Yeah.
We need to ask these people questions. We need to put them on their toes. We can't keep quiet because of the intimidations they've been inflicting on Ghanaians and journalists. We need to be out there and make sure that we speak truth to their face.
Interesting perspectives there. Thank you very much, Raphael. Thank you very much. Well, you can also call us. The number is displayed in your screens right now. Call us. Share with us. How would you evaluate Akufo-Addo's 100 days in office? So I was reading. So it was breathtaking scope of bold and new actions, both legislative and regulatory, that set the bar so high. To name but a few, in those 100 days, he declared a bank holiday. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
I'm managing, sir.
Hey, managing.
Hello.
Are you managing? Did you say you are managing?
Please, I'm calling from Gma Paper campus of UW, Market.
All right. How would you evaluate Nanado's 100 days in a second term?
I'm surprised at Nanado's decision of going to the Western world to borrow 170 million euros. Just 170, which is equivalent to 1.6 billion Ghana cedis.
Why? Are you there, sir?
Yes, sir, please.
Why? Why are you surprised?
Please, after taking 172 billion Ghana cedis for with nothing to be shown, I'm so surprised at this decision.
Well, thank you very much for your candid opinion on the subject matter. 100 days of Nanado's second term. What do you make of it? Are we making progress? Are we retrogressing? Are things okay with you? Do you have money in your pocket? The president said we are sitting on cash, and yet we're suffering. Now we are not sitting. Are we not sitting on cash any longer? I mean, are you making money? Good morning.
Good morning, Kwame.
Yes, my honorable. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well.
Please, your name, where are you calling me from?
My name is Sana. I'm calling from Dambayo, Kiri.
Fantastic, yes. 100 days, evaluation.
I want to talk about the transport sector.
All right.
Eminent increment of lorry fares up and down and things. Do you know that if you go to Ho West, the taxi drivers from Ho through Jolokwita, the district assembly capital to Peje, they have increased lorry fare by 30% for the past 3 weeks. With impunity, I called the district coordinating director, the deputy, informed him about this to call them to order. He didn't do anything about it. I've spoken to the MP that the best thing he can do to the people to call these drivers to order. With impunity, nothing has been done. Do you know the consequences? Now that the drivers are threatening to increase lorry fare by 20%, that 20% to be added to the 30%. The people of OS are they not in Ghana? The GPRQ, I called them several, the regional GPRQ, to ask. You call, they will not pick. When they pick, we'll do something about it because the cars are owned by them. The people of OS, are we not in Ghana? This is the performance of the president, where the transport sector, some people can just wake up and increase lorry fare with impunity. I want you to take this issue up and fight for the people of OS because we also deserve it. We buy the same fuel. They also buy the same fuel as it is now. Thank you so much.
Thank you very kindly for your call this morning. I think it's a very pertinent issue that ought to be looked into. We'll get the news team to follow up on that particular issue. But thank you very much for sharing it with us. Anyways, yeah, final call. Are you there? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hi, good morning, sir.
Morning. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Yourself?
KOD.
Yes, sir.
I'm speaking from Akimoda.
Hey, Akimoda. Yeah.
We have been watching you, KOD.
Thank you. What's your name?
We like you.
We love you too. We love you too.
KOD, I want to talk about, you said we are sitting on money, but we are suffering.
And that boy, we don't need talk. This matter don't need talk. We be the president talk.
KOD, but I want to ask something small.
Okay.
The 1 million one constituency.
Mm-hmm.
We still haven't get our money.
That one for us, Baumia.
And they said they are doing one toilet, certain toilet from the 1 million.
Yes.
Up to now, the toilet, they haven't completed the toilet. And it's about 4 years now. So, Kyoda, I want you to ask Baumia, when is the 1 million coming, please?
Baumia, my brother said I should ask you, Honorable His Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana. My brother just called. He said I should ask you where the toilet day. I've asked him. I've asked him for you.
Thank you, Kyoda. Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling me. Okay, well, I think I need to pick one last call. Then it will be fine. Yeah. So yeah, final caller. Interesting. Everybody get problem. Ghana be sweet pass. Honorable Murtala Mohammed is here seated, relaxing and waiting for us to start. We will start very shortly. But yes, good morning.
Good morning, Kyoda. How are you?
It go feel the better, mom. How are you?
Fine, great. I'm terrific. Yeah, listen to your friend.
My friend?
Hadi of Paper.
Oh, Hadi. Hadi, how far?
I'll visit you one of these.
I will be here, Hadi. I'll be here. Can you please speak up a little bit for me?
Kyoda, if I may ask, how much did the government spend for this so-called bank, cleaning of bank?
Plenty money.
Plenty money. And how much are they going for just to build to create another bank? 175 million.
170.
Yes, 170 million. And yes, if you look at the money that they use to clean those banks,
21 billion.
Yeah, so it's more than that 100. It's more than that 170 million. Are we serious in this country?
Master, you get sense, power.
These people, look, let me tell you, this government there, they are just bunch of criminals. They just the NPP party is well known as a tradition of a notorious making racket. They only came into politics to plunder public funds to enrich themselves. That's all. Ghana, we are in big trouble. May Allah help us. Thank you, my brother.
Hadi from Pig Farm is our final caller on the show this morning. Thanks for your calls. I appreciate every one of them. Thank you very much. Continue to watch the show and tell a friend that we are airborne. Honorable Murtala Mohammed, MP Tamale Central is here seated. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. I like the way you say it. Alhamdulillah. Your initial reactions. I mean, I think you listened to a few of the callers who have demonstrated their displeasures about the 100 days of Nanado in government. Just a few remarks, and then we can look into the issue relative to Palestine.
Well, let me say good morning to cherished viewers, and of course the good people of Tamale Central.
Yeah, they watch me, I know.
Permit me also to use the opportunity to wish everybody Eid Mubarak, because this is the first time I've been here after Eid, and also to say that we've learned a lot of lessons during the Ramadan. It is my hope and prayer that we continue and urge those who haven't been able to fast the 6 days supplementary fasting, which is not obligatory, that they should do their possible best to do it. There are a lot of benefits from fasting. Those who started on Friday, we finished yesterday. So I urge people to do that. I think it is very clear that this government is a disaster. It is very, very clear. You don't need rocket science to tell you that it's a complete failure. If you want to assess the person of Nanado, the stories he told the people of this country before the 2016 elections, and what we experienced within his first term, and considering what we are experiencing now, I still maintain that the MPP never won the elections. I maintain it doesn't matter what anybody says in this country. I still maintain that they never won the elections. They robbed the elections, and the robbery was done by another activist or activists of the NPP in the person of Jin Mensah and Bossman Asari. And you realize what they attempted doing just, was it last week?
Yeah.
You know, where the Electoral Commission had a so-called meeting to discuss the way forward without the NDC being present. These are two major political parties. And let's be very clear. Let no one, whether the Electoral Commission or the President, thinks that we would allow them to do what they did in 2020. It won't happen. That one, we mean it, trust me. This country belongs to all of us. All of us. Nobody or no group of persons own this country than any other person. And if they think that we are going to sit by to allow them to do what they did in 2020, to allow them to do that in 2024, they are dreaming. And our National Secretary certainly could not have captured it so well than what he said when he granted interview to the media. We are going to resist any attempt to try that. Jean Mensah is not fit to be the Electoral Commission or commissioner for this country. She has demonstrated not just bias, towards the NPP. She has demonstrated that she is not only in bed, but as a matter of fact, she is actually the MPP that is in bed, and we will not allow that to happen. We are not going to give anybody the opportunity to go to court to determine who wins the elections. That is not going to happen. And you see, sometimes I'm tempted to agree with Machiavelli when he said that there should be war so that people will appreciate the value of peace. The NDC demonstrated very level-headedness. We love this country and we didn't want this country to be torn apart. We were actually at the brink of chaos and anarchy in this country. But our leaders were so peaceful and so patriotic towards the sanctity, the safety, and the peace of this country. And the MPP think that we're weak. We will demonstrate to them that we are not. But
you guys demonstrated.
We will demonstrate to them.
You even said
I'm saying that.
I'm saying that
we will. I'm saying that.
But you never demonstrated any of such in the 2020 election.
Because our leaders were so disciplined. Our leaders were so much concerned.
So why were you making those pronouncements?
I'm saying that our leaders were so much.
No, but you need to respond to that.
I'm responding. I'm saying that our leaders.
Those pronouncements?
Yes, I'm responding.
If you knew you were not going to do that,
responding. I don't think that the NDC said that they were plunging this nation to chaos and anarchy. The NDC never said that. What the NDC said that we're going to resist any attempt to rob us.
You never resisted.
Hold on. But we realized that the MPP simply didn't care whether this nation was torn apart. They simply didn't care. Because that's what they demonstrated. And because our leaders were so disciplined, because they were so patriotic, because they cherish and value the democracy that we are practicing. By the way, the NDC gave birth to the democracy we are practicing today. Because our leaders were so much concerned about the peace and stability of this country, we avoided those things. And that is why perhaps the MPP thinks that the NDC is weakling. We want to send a message loud and clear that if anybody attempts to do what they did, attempts to do in 2020 for what they did in 2020, they will be dreaming. We will resist it. The governments have a proverb. It is not only one woman who gives birth to a stubborn child. Many women can give birth to stubborn children. We avoided that because of the peace and stability, thinking that these guys will learn a lesson. But Jean Mensah and Bosman Asare and this government simply do not care. We want them to know anything can happen. If they think that they can do what they did in 2020, they will do that in 2024. I can assure you that they are dreaming. We will not allow that. Look, for the first time in our electoral processes, that you had armed military men at coalition centers who terrorize people and rob elections, a verdict for a party that never won the elections in a way.
Absolutely.
I'm saying that these were armed military men.
But you didn't have that in your contemplation.
Nobody could have that because our democracy has evolved. Nobody could expect that a democratic state would allow itself and those given the mandate to supervise electoral processes who indeed, parade themselves as doyens of our democracy would engage in such pathetic actions. And I'm saying that was what we felt that they couldn't. But they demonstrated to us that they simply do not care. We want them to know. We wouldn't also care in 2024. That one, it is very clear. This country belongs to all of us. They should allow the democratic processes to go freely, transparently. But what we witnessed in 2020 was not transparent.
Would it be far from
what we witnessed in 2020 was not free. We are not going to allow that to happen.
Would it be far from correct to say that your party is not even properly well organized as it stands now.
How do you
Well, as I speak to you now, I can confidently tell you that some of the MPP guys are on the ground, working to break the 8. And you are, just on appearing on platforms and making statements and rhetorics and things like that. Are you ready to go into 2024 elections? Because it appears you are not. From what I said,
in fact, you are just off base. And I'm really surprised that you of all people,
because you've not touched base with the grassroots.
No, you are off base.
Have you touched base?
I represent a political party. I'm a member of parliament. I have had interactions with my constituency, and that is what happens. That is what happens. Everybody, all of us who have won elections and those who haven't won, need to touch base, and we did that. As I talked to you, the NDC in Northern Region is having a meeting or a conference this weekend with all stakeholders, all those members of parliament and those who contested and never won and those who won, for us to sit by to find out. Look, a lot of things happened in our elections. And I can tell you, in Tamale Central, there were no NDC leadership who financed even MPP candidates.
That's what I'm asking.
Yes, I know. I know that for a fact.
If you are ready for
I know that for a fact.
That's what I'm asking you. You're spreading it.
I'm saying that I know that for a fact.
So
I know that there were people who indeed distributing the NPP's candidates their cloths and money, and some of them were branch executives. I know, but you see, we avoided all those things because, as a party, the most important thing is that I won the elections. So as a candidate who contested the elections, you needed to maintain and keep the peace within the party. That doesn't mean that the NDC is not working. I can tell you, there have been series of such meetings going on. And that is why I've just told you, in Northern Region, there's going to be a conference this weekend, where all the stakeholders will be invited, so that we can speak frankly and truthfully to each other. But that is the only way we can.
And these are just the prelims to the show. But do you want me to also to be very fair and candid with you? I mean, the rhetorics that we're hearing in the press, particularly emanating from your general secretary, really does not find some special space within the framework of things, because after the elections, you were presented with an opportunity to redeem yourself in parliament, and you failed your people. Now, do you think that your followers will take you seriously when you come out to say that we are going to resist, we are going to ensure that what happened in 2020 elections does not recur in 2020? Do you think your party will believe in that? Do you think that you have the base to stand behind you and fight the system when you let them down?
First and foremost, I made my position very clear when we had the unfortunate incidences happening in parliament. I think that it would be unfair for such conclusions to be made that the members of parliament led the party down. Of course, in one breath, there could be some justification in what happened. We delivered the speaker, and I think for me that is very, very significant. The expectations of most of us was that we were going to, the expectations were that we were going to do what was expected of us by the rank and file of the party in terms of, disapproving the nominations and the appointment of some ministers. I made my position very clear. I never voted any of them. My position was very clear, but some of us voted for them. You cannot tell who voted for them and who didn't vote for them. And I don't want to sit here and play the saint. What is significant, I can speak for myself. But you see, now, in all the elections of the appointees, over 100 members of parliament from the NDC side voted against them. Over 100 members. So if you use one brush to paint everybody, you're not being fair to the entirety of the members of parliament. But you see, there are several opportunities. Yeah. There are several opportunities that are available for NDC to hold its own. My hope is that those who betrayed the cause will not do that. Some members of parliament betrayed the cause. But you see, the difference between the NDC and the MPP is that when a journalist picks a phone and calls an MPP member and says that the knives are out for you, you know what the MPP member will respond?
No.
He would ask which knives. But the moment an NDC person is called, the knives are out for you, what happens is that you start cutting. Now, if you see the hypocrisy within, and I can use Tamale Center for example, those who voted against me and voted for the MPP candidate, and we know them, they were those who were the loudest, chastising members of parliament, some of members of parliament who did that disgraceful act in voting to approve these people. Now, what is the difference between someone who voted skirt and blouse, voted for John Dramani Mahama, and voted against the NDC candidate, an MPP, someone who described himself as a leader of the NDC, some of them are as branch executive? What is the difference between you and the member of parliament who, for some reason, voted in approval of this appointment? They are the same.
And you don't think that fundamentally it means that your party has a problem? There's a structural deficiency.
If you say this,
there's a structural deficiency. Yes, because if you have executives voting for an opposing political party, it means that structurally you have a problem.
No, structurally, all these two major political parties have a problem.
No, I'm saying to your party.
No, I'm saying
you lost the election.
I'm saying that.
And you are seeking to regain the confidence of your followers.
Structurally, yes, all these two political parties have the same problem. You know why I say that? There are a lot of constituencies where you had President Nana winning presidential, and yet the MPP candidates lost. But of course, I have to talk about the NDC. Yes, there are problems. In every institution, you have some of those challenges. And I'm saying that sometimes it is important for us to speak truth and sincerely to each other in our faces. And for me, that may solve some of these problems. Because clearly, there can't be any justification in what some of us did in Parliament. It doesn't make simply sense. And I have stated that after these elections, when the 3 nominees were approved, that I didn't have any problem against any of them. But I felt that they were unfit to be ministers of state because some of them lied under oath. They appeared condescending, disrespectful when they appeared before the appointment committee. And this was what happened. Yet, some members of the NDC went and voted for them. Look, the NDC, the rank and file would have been happier or not angry if we had all the NDC members voting against those people. The MPP could have still even approved them if they were going to vote en masse. Because I remember in the elections of these two people, we had some of our members who were not there. One had lost the mother who was attending, the burial that day. One had lost the sister. One was down with COVID. So we knew. However, what would have been comforting to our rank and file is that, yes, those of us who were present, we needed to have voted against these people. You know why? If we criticize NPP and criticize President Nana Ado's administration for robbery and thievery with the very ministers who indeed engaged in that robbery, yet we went and then we appeared.
So then it begs the question whether your party is a viable alternative, particularly when you specifically campaign with some of the things which are occasioned during Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo's first term, with these particular ministers, and you still go ahead to endorse these very ministers.
It will be preposterous. It will be preposterous.
How can we be confident that
it will be preposterous for you to say that whether the NDC is unviable because of what happened? Let me take, for example, this is your station. Don't you have challenges?
Challenges.
So if you have challenge, when you have challenges, what do you do?
One is brazen.
When you have challenges, what do you do?
One is brazen.
No, answer. When you have challenges, what do you
solve them?
You take steps to solve them.
Absolutely.
And I'm saying that the NDC has started doing that. Of course, I mean, if the NDC had won the elections, I am very convinced that we won the elections. Assuming that the NDC was declared the winners of the elections, this story wouldn't have been a story. You're not getting a different story altogether. I am getting you. What you are simply saying is that because of what some members of parliament did in the approval of those nominees, and some voting skirt and blouse in our constituencies, it means that the NDC has a structural problem. And I'm saying that every institution, every structure would have challenges. But for you to conclude, hold on, I'm taking your words, for you to conclude that whether the NDC is viable or unviable because of what happened, I think that is far-fetched. The NDC is a viable political party. The NDC actually, and I think it is important for us to look at this.
Don't misquote me.
But that's what I just said.
Opposition. I'm not saying it's not a viable political party.
But why?
NDC can be a viable political party.
Whether
it may not be a viable opposition.
Whether a viable political party or opposition.
Yes.
The NDC is working towards winning an election.
It's not by reference.
Hold on. Hold on. The NDC is working towards winning an election.
Yes,
so a political party that is deemed to be viable in opposition has one objective, and that objective is that working towards winning an election. So you cannot insulate the two. So if the NDC is a viable opposition party, it ought to be a viable political party. The ultimate objective is to win an election.
Let me grant you that.
Yes.
Let me grant you that. And you remember, we're having this conversation on the basis of that which was said by John Adekwe Mensah when she met with IPAC, excluding the NDC, right? And that which has been said by the General Secretary of the NDC. And I think I was putting it to Honorable that it appears,
you can give him the honor.
That it appears that there is a structural deficiency.
Yes.
Which structural deficiency is not creating the impression to the ordinary Ghanaian that the NDC is a viable opposition. Now, I needed to stress that because of the point that I made earlier about what the campaign message that the NDC, for instance, used, right? Yeah. Because they used Ken Bond, right, as a campaign message. They used several of the ministers who had involved themselves in corrupt practices as the basis of their campaign. So if these people come back to Parliament and these people gain the votes of the NDC representatives in Parliament, then a presumption of fact is that you were lying to the group of Ghana. Hold on. No, I'm trying to establish the point to you that you lied to the Ghanaian people prior to the 2020 elections in order to win the vote, but you did not really believe that these people were actually corrupt. That's the point I'm making. No, is it not justifiable?
No, it's not.
Is it not justifiable?
With the greatest of respect, very, very justifiable. Why do I say so? You see, at a point in time, I felt very sad for supporters and sympathizers of the NDC. It was not us, it was them who were speaking very tough that we had beautiful numbers and we make sure our numbers come to play. So some of us, yes, even though the CPP didn't win any seat, we knew that our brothers and sisters in the NDC would do a better. But surprisingly, I was here with Honorable ABA Fuseni, and I poured out my frustration on him. Look, by the numbers they had, talk about Hawa, Ken, by the numbers, it means you had some quantum of NDC MPs who have made up their minds that, look, come with me, we are going to the other side. And that is serious betrayal to the trust the good people of this country gave the NDC. 137 seats is no joke, my brother. That is half. So they've given you beautiful numbers. They have serious confidence in the NDC. And you go to Parliament and you betray them.
It means that the campaign message
precisely
was not true.
That's not. If this week calls to worry.
Yeah.
This was just the first step. Other things will come to Parliament. And if our brothers and sisters in the NDC, level one, they couldn't, maintain the trust we had for them. But moving forward, I doubt. I really doubt that beautiful numbers will come to play.
Yeah.
I doubt.
Honorable disagrees with my
point. I disagree. I understand him.
I appreciate it. But I understand your point too.
That some of their own people.
Yeah.
In the majority, yes, maybe most of them will stay upright, but some can be persuaded. You say if you be a Mensah home.
But you see, that's the point I'm making. That it means that there's a structural deficiency.
There's a problem.
Yes.
And they can't tell us there's no problem. No. Why? Because even after the elections, look at the kind of hope they give their supporters. That they had their plea sheets, they're going to collate it, and they're going to court and we won the elections. You went to court, you couldn't even produce one plea sheet. I was surprised.
I mean, it's preposterous. I mean,
it is not.
It is not. It's preposterous. Hold on.
Gather all the facts. Let me make his point.
Because all of us were
thinking you, but you.
At the point in time, we were having, information that the NDC is combining, it is putting all their pin sheets together.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, we go to court.
Right.
And they couldn't even assemble 10 pin sheets.
Yeah.
So what kind of hope were you giving your supporters?
Yeah.
Because they actually believe they won the elections.
And the presumption that they hope to the supporters is actually not true, because it is the very many Ghanaians who voted for the NDC. Those who are not even members of the NDC who disappointed them.
So many voters voted for the NDC.
So why should anybody believe in the words of General Mosquito?
Well, I for one, I will never believe, and I have serious cause to worry.
Please, why?
Because none of the political parties have presence in Parliament, apart from the NDC. So no matter the noise we make outside, they are the very people who can hold the position together and make sure that whatever the opposition wants comes to play. But unfortunately, because they failed us, I doubt if moving forward, if those like Japan will be re-looked at and go back to Parliament, I have no trust, my brother. I have serious no trust with our brothers in the NDC anymore. And I told you some time ago, that has given the good people of this country that, look, we can't trust politicians. So at a point in time, then let's take the law into our own hands. And that is a ticking time bomb. Because if you think we have an opposition which has 137, and they still can't bite, they have no boss.
then the good people of this country say, honorable, it appears that you can't bite, your party cannot bite, and your party has
we are talking about two different things here. First and foremost, I made my position very clear to you. That yes, it was extremely disappointing. Yeah. And I'm not making my position today. The very day our commission and co were approved, I was the first person to grant an interview and stating my position very, very clearly. And I stated palpably that I never voted for any of them. Yeah. And I will never vote for any of them any day. And it isn't that I was against them when I granted the interview. I said, look, none of them is fit to be a minister of state. And the reasons I gave was that one, some of them lied under oath. Two, the responses they gave to the questions were just abysmal. By the way, I am not a member of the appointment committee, and I won't sit here and chastise the appointment committee. I'm a member of parliament. Yeah. That is one. Now, when you say that level 1, the NDC failed, that is absolutely not true. True. Hold on. The NDC...
Level 1.
Hold on. The NDC approved and got a speaker. Let's be very fair. If you are doing... No. Hold on. Hold on. Please. I mean, if you want to do... Hold on. If you are doing an intellectual discourse, or having an intellectual discourse, don't cherry pick.
No, I'm not.
Where members of parliament ought to be condemned. As a member of parliament, I condemned my colleagues, and by extension, condemning myself, because I can't insulate myself from what happened. But I'm saying that to say that level 1 members of parliament failed, that is absolutely preposterous. The members of parliament went in there with 137. The MPP had 137, including the independent, who stated that he's going to join them and in voting. So we were at disadvantage. Yet when we went there, you had at least 3 members of the MPP who voted for the wish of the NDC. It's possible. When you want to do the proper analysis, it could happen that maybe some members of NDC would have voted for the one. I'm saying that it could have happened.
After that, you can't
No, I don't want to make such conclusions.
After that, you can't do it.
Can I finish? Can I finish?
You will finish, but after that, you can't do it.
Hold on, please. That's unfair. If you have any evidence that any member cut deals, state it.
If you have any evidence that you didn't cut deals, bring it.
I never, first and foremost, I never took it.
I'm not saying you.
No, I know. I'm saying that first and foremost.
I don't know.
I'm saying that if you have any evidence, I mean, be a man, be courageous. If you are talking about those not having balls, you seem not. Hold on. If you are talking about those not having balls, you just demonstrated that you have none. Hold on. Okay, let's go. Can I finish? Let's go there. Can I finish?
No, let's go there.
You should mention the names of those who think that they can't just...
But we are the best person to tell us.
I don't know.
Because you know.
How do you know? First and foremost, hold on.
How come that altercation ensued between the leader of the minority caucus in parliament and the leaders of your party?
No, there wasn't an altercation.
There was an altercation.
What was the altercation?
The altercation was that some people were preferred, I mean, some leadership.
Remember we had two
preferred some candidates. And Honorable, the one and only Haruna Idrisu decided that, no. You people, you said that we should not approve these people. Because if we approve these people, what it means is that every other person will say, approve this other candidate. And we will be forced to approve them. So your party people, in fact, the leadership at your party level, were not deep in the decision which was taken.
You see.
So you said I should go down. I'll go there. If you want me to mention names, I'll mention names.
You see, mention names. You see, I mean, I think that let us not dwell on conjecture. And I'm not holding brief.
That there was no altercation.
Hold on. I'm not holding brief for any member of the National Executive. Can I finish? I'm not holding brief.
I know what I'm talking about.
I don't know. I'm not holding brief for any of the National Executive officers of our party. I'm not. But me, everybody knows me. If I need to make a statement publicly, I will mention names. That is who I am. So if you will not mention names and you want to dwell on conjecture, that will be unfair to the entire national executives of our party. If you have the balls to mention names, mention the names. General Secretary or National Chairman or Organizer or Communication took money. Don't give me any cues. Mention the names. If you can't mention any name, just shut up. You can't mention any name. If you can't mention any name, but you are distracting me. Let me just finish.
You are well educated to know that.
No, let me finish. hold on. The viewing public are not
Okay.
interested in innuendos. The viewing public
But the
are
view-
interested in the statement you made emphatically.
They know.
That some, hold on, that some members
But
of
you also
Mensah-
know very
Can I
well.
finish?
That
That some
is a
members.
fact. You know it.
What is a
I
fact?
find it difficult.
I say, what is a fact?
If I were in your
Hold on, hold
shoes,
on.
I would have done
What
same.
is a fact?
I would have done same.
No, what is a fact?
That's how if you remember
Hold on.
betrayed the
What is a
cause.
fact?
You remember allowing.
No, for betrayal of the cause. That's
And
why
why
I
did they
said.
betray the cause? Canteen deals.
Hold on.
That's
You
the
see,
way they betrayed the
it's
cause.
unfair. The betrayal of a cause is that yes, some members of parliament voted against the position of the party and the rank and file. And so I told you, I said that look, the rank and file of the party, they were justified in the outrage with which they responded to the approval. Because frankly speaking, it was embarrassing that members of parliament did what we did, or some members of parliament did what we did. I never voted for them, and I stated very clearly, very, very clearly, and I speak for myself. I never voted. In fact, I can tell you something. I walked to Howard Thompson, I remember, before, somewhere around 4 o'clock. And I told her, and it created a sin. I said, you are not fit to be a minister. And I remember Kojo was like, why? I said, who is your brother? Those things. Yet, Howard Thompson was approved and got the highest vote. Hold on. When she got that, Howard Thompson is my sister.
When she video,
hold on.
No, when they want money, I gave them money.
I mean,
Did you see that video?
Let's have a debate.
Did you not see
Hold
that
on.
video?
You have failed to mention names anyway, so let me. Did you see that? Let me make my point. When Howard Thompson was approved, in fact, I was seated and I remember.
Yes.
When the voting was done, so we're still asking. So Howard Thompson's vote was the one they counted first. So when we pick hint that Howard Thompson got that vote, myself, Honorable Edward Bauer, Honorable Adongo, at least maybe some, we angrily stormed out of Parliament. So I never even waited to say we were angry. The moment I heard that Howard Thompson got this number of votes, I just told Bauer and Adongo, we walked out. We walked out and took our vehicles and left. I didn't know what chance, because I knew if Honorable Howard Thompson could get that vote. And the reason was that there are people who were maimed. Some lost their lives as a result of the actions of these people. So on that breath, yes, it was embarrassing, it was disappointing what some members of parliament did. And I won't vouch for any member. And like I said, even though I never voted for them, I can't sit here and say Murtala is insulated. It's the responsibility.
Right,
the responsibility and the blame must come to all of us.
Yeah.
But you see, it is also fair that at least we delivered the speaker.
All right.
Unfortunately, it's like this one has eclipsed the shine with which we got the speaker.
Right.
And that's why I said that when we delivered the speaker, they were praising us. We were happy. So if you go and do an embarrassing thing and they are condemning us, we need to. My problem with your proposition was that you don't say, because there were that problems, the NDC by extension has a structural problem which cannot be redeemed. Every political party, including CPP, has problems. The only thing is that our ability to resolve those problems, that is my point.
Maria Adam is saying, but you also failed to admit or deny the video I was referring to.
No, which video?
When Howard Thompson was...
Oh, no, I didn't deny. I haven't even... I'm just...
But have you seen the video?
I've seen where she was angry.
Did you heard what she said?
Yes, I heard what she said. Not only her, my worry. I mean, in the matter of even the budget, and I think that's why we should be concerned. When I debated, I called for a rejection of the budget. I called for a rejection of the budget.
Maria Adam appears to have an opposing view.
Yes.
Maria Adam says, Honorable, what are you doing towards 2024?
Yes.
Because the MPP are ready to kill even more. And the EC is also prepared to rig the election again by closing the polls at 3 p.m., which not even developed countries does. Are you going to run again and start weeping like women? NDC, you are weaklings. Change your leadership before 2024. What's your response to that?
You know, I'm sorry, I have to be quoting Machiavelli again.
Yeah, that's right.
The MPP did a lot of the things they did through the tacit support of some members of NDC. It's possible that there could be some national executive officers who were, I don't know, and that's why I would always want to give a caveat. I can speak for Tamale Central, and I can tell you on authority that you had party leadership and some distinguished persons who were supporting MPP, and some of them, we have them on tape. Honestly, that one I can tell you. You had some even executives of a party who were leading the distribution of things. We have them on tape. Look, I won an elections, okay? How many months now?
So December, January, February, March, April, May.
Do you know?
That's 5 months.
Those same people who do not know that we have, empirical evidence is what they did. They were the loudest of what Parliament, the disgraceful thing Parliament did.
Is that thing pay you pa?
No, you know why? You know why it hurt me?
Yeah.
The pretense, the hypocrisy.
That's
you can't do this, and then you are the loudest. When we hold you on board, because we have some of them on tape. Some of them called people to their homes and told them vote for the MPP candidate. Yes, I know that for a fact. Some even extended financial support, and I can tell you, including at least a member of a party constituency executive.
Wow.
So I'm saying that when all those things are said,
you have the boss.
I'm saying that that's why you see, you know why? You know the difference. You know the difference. The difference is that I have just told you earlier that the reason why I didn't speak against some of those things is because of this so-called or the structural challenges you are talking about, that you needed to maintain the stability, you needed to maintain the unity. However, we must have an opportunity to speak sincerely and frankly to each other. That is what we need to do.
All right.
And I'm saying that if you cannot speak sincerely and frankly to each other, then you have a problem. I just told you that Northern Region, there is a conference that is going to be held this weekend.
Yes, you said it.
And it has to do with the way forward.
The restoration of the party. All right.
Every member of parliament needed to, and those who haven't won. We lost a lot of seats because of...
In a nutshell, you are a viable opposition.
So how long will
Yes, we are.
how long will it take the NDC to go back to IPAC? Because yesterday there was an IPAC meeting to do review of the elections.
The woman is dreaming.
And the NDC was absent. Right? I couldn't go there personally, but my party was
do you know why I would hold
brief? But you heard a similar thing. They were present.
Do you know why I would hold brief for the NDC?
Yeah.
Because I think that the current EC does not respect IPAC.
The woman it's not fit.
It's not just, you see, this issue is not just about the NDC or the PNC or the CPP or the MPP. It's simply that the woman does not respect IPAC.
But my problem is that till
when will
you opt out?
Till the EC begins to recognize the importance of IPAC, I think that even including your party should stay away from IPAC.
Yesterday,
I think
they had a lot of opposition yesterday.
I think all the
NDC were present. The position would have been
the CPP conduct prior to the election was so bad. You see, of course.
No, I
of course. Your leadership virtually supported and gave approval to what the EC chair was doing. Your leadership. Are you denying that today?
I am denying it.
I'm saying that your leadership approved. Your leadership, the CPP leadership participated in all the things they were doing. Which of them did you want? Or you sit here today, you want to play the same. CPP supported everything.
Thank you.
There are so many things we did support.
It's a case. You know what?
We never supported them.
You know what Machiavelli said?
No, Honorable. Who is the new register?
Some of your leadership.
I'll mention
your flag bearer. Your flag bearer was one of the first people who said that the elections were free and fair. Who was their flag bearer? Your flag bearer. Who was your flag bearer? But who doesn't know your flag bearer in 2020?
Who doesn't know the
CPP. That's what I have mentioned. The flag bearer of the CPP. So tell me, National Secretary. Tell me, National Secretary or National Chairman. I have just mentioned. You should also tell me, National Secretary or National Chairman. I have just told you. Your flag bearer. Your flag bearer. Even at a time when the electoral commissioner herself was given conflicted figures. Strangely, your flag bearer, who ought to have known, said that the elections were free and fair. And I'm saying that
they congratulated the president.
Thank you, guys.
Last 30 seconds.
I think we should have.
You know what Machiavelli says? 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Machiavelli.
That you see, human beings are greedy of wants and needy of gains. As long as you shower your blessings upon them, they are all yours.
Thank you very much. You believe in that?
Yeah. So MPP
also happened.
So MPP showered all their blessings on the parliamentarians, and they got what they want. Thank you.
It's possible.
Thank you very much.
It's possible.
Thank you very much.
No, but I've never defended what happened in Parliament.
Gentlemen, thank you. To the extent that we all can't mention names, it's fine.
No, I have mentioned.
You have not mentioned.
I said the CPP flag bearer.
What's his name?
What's his name?
Who was your flag bearer?
No, you have to tell us.
I I mean, it's just like if people say the host of this program. So I was expecting him to also say the NDC national chairman, the NDC national secretary, the NDC organizer. He doesn't have the boss.
Sometimes there's a sitting for me. So if you say the host, not anything. Anyway, so viewers, let me remind you that you can join in the conversation. I know it's a bit noisy. You know, the show. We're just trying to iron a few things out. Of course. But the show is about to start properly, and I want to encourage all of you to leave your comments underneath the Facebook live feed. We will be more than willing to read your messages here on the morning show. If you can just give me a few seconds, let me crave your indulgence. I'm going for this quick commercial break. We need to make some money. When I return, we're going to be touching on very critical issues. Particularly, we're going to subject the 100 days of Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo's government to proper scrutiny. Stay with us.
Every day, he has a drink filled with malt. Every day, he has a drink filled with malt and milk. Every day, he has a drink filled with malt, milk, and cocoa. Every day, he needs the nutritious goodness of Milo. Milo, the energy to go further. This advert is FDA approved. Every day he looks after his brother and chases a bus. Every day he looks after his brother, chases a bus, and learns new things. Every day he looks after his brother, chases a bus, learns new things, and gets back home. Every day he looks after his brother, chases a bus, learns new things, gets back home, and helps his mom. Phew. That's why every day he needs his cup of Milo filled with the nutritious goodness of malt, milk, and cocoa. Milo, the energy to go further.
From Nestle.
This advert is FDA approved.
Like we never left. If you just joined us, you're watching the news review segment here on the morning show. My name again is Kwame Owusu. So please leave your messages where we'll be excited to read your messages here on the morning show. I'm still in the studios with Gma Moses Ambeng, Honorable Mutala Mohammed, and we're going to have several other conversations here. Now, I told you that Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo has done a lot. To the MPP, he is the best president in the history of Ghana. Particularly when they try to pull parity with some of his works with that of the first president of the Republic of Ghana, Osadefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. The NPP has indicated that within the first 100 days of Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo in his second term, he has performed creditably well, to the extent that they say there's money in town, and they say that even when there are increment in the prices of goods and services, the increments are done beautifully, in a very sexy manner, not in a harsh manner. You know, to the extent that they say that, oh, but our doomso is better than the doomso of the NDC. All doomso will be doomso under the MPP. We're going to be subjecting the performance of the Ronaldo and Bawumia administration to proper scrutiny. You remember Moses Ambeng, respectfully, let me start this particular conversation with you, because I know you have a lot to say, and I know that you are a party in waiting, you know, so government in waiting. So let's hear from you.
So now, 100 days. In fact, I find it difficult sometimes when our brothers from the MPP say that they have performed very well, even trying to compare with the great Osadefo himself. It beats my imagination. And sometimes I tell myself that, is it that because they belong to the party, so they just talk for talking sake? Or they are relating it based on facts and current happenings? If it is based on facts and current happenings, I'm telling you, they are nowhere close. Even military juntas have performed better than this government. Now, when you take them, all the sectors, take all the sectors. Take industrialization. They say, well, hey, they are doing one factory, one district, one factory. Up to today, we've not been able to see. Look, the ones I can count, I can only count a Kumfi juice, which I've seen on the market. A Kumfi juice.
That's not even their fruit.
Well, that's the only thing I can see on the market. Too. Apart from that one I can count, I don't know of any. Seriously. Because you have to show me what the outcome of it is. And the only outcome, let's even give them the Kumfi juice. That is on the market. Now, you talk about energy. Total failure. Where the energy sector is so indebted more than ever before. Nothing works, Kwame. Talk about agriculture, same. So it beats some of us our imagination when the NPP tell us that hey, they performed very, very well. You take corruption to, in fact, and I love last week, I think, is it a Presbyterian pastor who told Nana, look, you see that you told us you'll be better than Mahama, but no, you are worse. And people are beginning to come to that understanding. That's, we also, Nana, as somebody who was a bastion of rule of law, somebody who could fight corruption, Nana cannot be corrupted. But Kwame, what have we seen over a few years, and even in this current second term of his? It is obvious. It is very, very obvious that His Excellency the President can never be trusted. And nobody, and within the NPP themselves, we are fine, we have conversation, and they know it. But sometimes, yes, I understand that they come on air and tell another leaf. We cannot trust the current system. And when people go about saying we should face Ghana, you are telling us to face ourselves? How do we face ourselves?
What are the real substantial issues for which reason you are saying that another Danko Akufo-Addo has not been able to perform well? What are the real issues?
My major number one issue is on corruption. Look, most of the vote they garnered in 2016, they came to power based on the message of corruption. I'm telling you, that was their core message, corruption. That the Mahama government was corrupt, they will do better, there was money in this country, we will find the money is here, right here in Ghana, we will not be borrowing. These are the major pillars they campaigned on. And all the pillars they campaigned on, corruption, on finding money internally in Ghana here, without borrowing excessively, they failed. So when I am judging them based on the message they gave to the good people of this country in 2016. One pillar on corruption, another pillar on the economy, that the economy of Ghana is so enriched that it is council that's accommodating. That the money is right here, that they can engineer for us to create an economy which is worth loving. But all those pillars, Kwame, they failed woefully. And it beats my imagination. If they tell you that we are not experiencing doomsday. Meanwhile, everybody knows, prior to 2016, now we had excess capacity. So if you have excess capacity and you're having challenges, the challenge can be only one. It can only be a financial challenge. Because the capacity is there. And some of us are of the opinion that, look, we needed to find innovative ways of making sure that we sell this power to other countries. Which I understand there were plans on the way in 2016 which couldn't materialize. So if you have excess capacity and you are telling us that you have no challenges, then I don't understand what you are saying. It is obvious that what we are facing in this country now is serious financial drain. But they are just playing around with the issues, telling us that all is well, this is their doomsday, it's about maintenance. It's not only about maintenance. The kind of debt around the energy sector, Kwame, is no joke. It's no joke, my brother. On a scale of 1 to 10, if somebody should grade this government, if they get more than 3, can I know one? 3, I'm telling you.
Oh, how?
What are you telling? What is how?
As I'm not
make I say. If they get more than 3, I'll be surprised. So if I was a class teacher, I'll give you 3. Then I'll put very, very poor performance. 3 over 10. 3. Which are 3?
They said
Kwame, I'm giving you the pillars on which they came to power with. They've borrowed money than any other government all combined.
Nana Danko Akufo-Addo, when granted an interview by the CNN, indicated clearly that these were mere allegations, and the allegations were not made on the stilts of facts. These were just mere allegations which were investigated by his government.
And declared them.
And declared these people because there was no evidence, or there were no evidence to back the claims which were made against these persons. So why are you saying I think on the back of corruption?
Listen, in the last term, the first 100 days, they were hit. That was also their level 1. What contaminated fuel. Very early days. And these guys went around, put up a committee, and we don't know what happened. And they said, oh, nothing happened. They cleared the guy. And we're all like, hey, seriously? Within 100 days. In fact, that was a signal sent to us. That look, all what we thought was good wasn't good at all. In fact, it wasn't even a metal. It was wood. You understand? So, Kwame, there have been so many corruption issues alleged against this government. But you see, one interesting thing they do so well, they'll set up a committee right now for inquiry, go into the matter, and come out with a paper that, oh, they've been cleared. And it ends there. No prosecution. But, hitherto, at least, we saw one of the NDC, one of their own, being prosecuted. So at least that is the only yardstick I use. Yes, all of us were saying that, yes, the NDC must go. We needed an alternative. I was part of those who sang that song. But yes, in 2016, I believe the CDP should have come to power. We lost the elections. The NDP had a nod. So what do? You turn a new leaf. You do things better. But it looks as if, sir, we are taking some steps backwards. And it's going to take another 10 to 12 years to recorrect those steps. Kwame, now, this issue about borrowing, right? I have a problem because I don't see how this cycle is going to end. Because now all the borrowing they are taking, it is not into productive sectors where they will have the capability to repay back in the near future. It is not. It is only into consumption, right? Consumption, and will tell you some to retire debts. So when that happens, it means that every given time you still have to borrow to be retiring debts and for consumption. So at what time can they plan for us to come out of this area? I don't see the future for this country. Honestly, I am very scared.
But is it not unfair on your part to say that Nana Akufo-Addo has done nothing? Absolutely nothing.
Oh, nothing.
Maybe unfair on your part.
No, okay, well, maybe we'll give it to him, the song before the singing, with the free SHS, which is also not done very well. We'll give it to him.
But there are some, factories being built across the country.
That's what I'm saying. I've not seen the output of those factories. The only ones I've seen is a Kunfi juice, which I like taking. Yes. But the rest, they said they've established factories. I don't see the outputs of those factories. I don't see them on the market. You understand? So for us, it is very simple. When we are grading Nana Akufo-Addo and his government on a scale of 10, I'm giving them 3 over 10.
Are you
on a 3 over 10? Yes, we are going to give them their efforts, being bold to initiate the free SHS. Because as a socialist, I can never be against such a program. It's a good step, but we believe that it could have been done better. That is one.
Okay.
There may be the second one. We will say that yes, we've not been seeing any kind of, at least security-wise, they're putting the country in check in a little way that we don't really see any, kind of uprising. But people are really boiling. Within, they are, to be honest with you. And they have a mechanism. I don't know how they do it.
Not allowing you to demonstrate?
Well, you see, I don't know how they do it. Just imagine if it was the NDC or any other political party in power. By now, I'm telling you. But I don't know how they do it. They seem to have the media, some media houses and some other big wigs, social, CSOs on their side. They kind of, have a way of handling, of what? Well, I don't know that.
That's why the NDP is quiet.
No, we are not quiet. We've been speaking. But yes, we don't have the beautiful numbers that you have. If you had the beautiful numbers, whoa, this country would have been a better place. If the CPP even had 1/10 of the members our brothers in the NDP have in parliament, Kwame, nothing, I can assure you.
The conversation is also about the economy.
Precisely.
So look at the economy, for instance. Inflation was, I think for a longer period of time, we had a single digit
inflation
until recently.
Recently, it has ballooned
to 11.
Ballooned. All prices the same.
But I mean, if you look at that, and it has ballooned primarily because globally we have economic labyrinth. So I mean, if we have economic labyrinth globally, then it starts to reason that all of these small countries with very fragile economic structure will suffer.
Last year, yes, they envisaged all these things. That is why they went for some packages from the IMF and support to cushion the economy. If you remember, when COVID hits the economy, they said quickly we have to go to the World Bank and IMF to get some cushions, and they had no support. So I find it difficult if somebody tells me that look, we didn't get any cushion, and the shock is so great that we couldn't control it. I find it difficult because we received over 3 billion in excess. Just around this period to cushion this economy. And what have you done with the money? The question is so fundamental. What have you done with the monies We've gone from IMF, World Bank, and other places, and even some freezes on the debt we're supposed to repay back. We had those kind of arrangements.
One can also safely assume that they sanitized the financial sector.
In what way?
By cleaning.
In fact,
by cleaning and weeding out the bad nuts, in the financial space. I mean, is it not a great achievement?
For me, you see, what happened there? Yes, some of the banks, indigenous banks, were really challenged. But for us, if an indigenous bank is challenged, the only remedy for you is to withdraw the alliances? No. They did something with Unibank, they did something with, Amwabe's Bank, UT, and some other banks, by merging them into a consolidated bank. We thought that yardstick could have also been used with the others, like the GM banks and other banks who were struggling. These were banks who belong to Ghanaians. So for us, withdrawing licenses, creating unemployment was not the way to go. We could have sat with them, find and engineer a way to pick them out of their challenges. Other countries, they do it. Even countries which are capitalist in nature, when their indigenous factories or industries are suffering, they go into their aid. The US have been doing it. They did it with AIG. You understand? So, in fact, for us, the approach they used in cleanup, a so-called cleanup, was a total waste of time.
Let's look at employment.
Employment
is about over 1 million Ghanaians.
Which always challenge them with these figures. They come out and hit us with boom, 1 million.
There's planning for food and jobs, which has created jobs for people. there's NAPCO, hold on. There's NAPCO, Nation Builders Corps, which has also provided employment for the Ghanaian people. We have youth in afforestation, created jobs for the people. And several other, such beautiful, policies.
We are mentioning all these policies, all these programs they have employed a lot of youth. But what is the reality on the ground? Because we don't have a very good data system in this country, it is difficult for all of us to track the numbers. So that is why they will come and throw any number and they expect us to believe. We don't have the serious data in this country. We are all challenged with that. So when they come and tell you that I've created 1 million jobs, then it's like everybody's quiet. But when you put it to test to see the numbers, I'm telling you, you can't want it. We've not created 5 jobs. All those jobs you are seeing are minor jobs. And even they are short, stopgap measures. We are looking at a situation where in the near future, or even now, we'll create opportunities for our youth, which will be permanent in nature. This NAPCO you are saying you are talking about, it's a 3 year something. You can't go within more than 3 years. So it's a stopgap measure. And we are saying that we should move about the stopgap measure and create real opportunities for the youth of this country.
All right. Thank you, Yemambo Moses Zambing. If you just join us, you're watching the News Preview segment here on Pan-African Television with the Australia Kwame Owusu-Dan. So it's getting very exciting here. I have been asking a few questions of Yemambo, and indeed Yemambo has provided his responses to those issues that I've raised. I think Honorable has written some theses here, and he would want to share with a good people of Ghana. I still stand by my position that Nana Addo Akufo-Addo has performed creditably well. You may want to disagree with me, but I think that he has performed creditably well. Do you disagree with me?
You are saying it with even a smile. Deep down, you even know it's true.
No, my smile is a reaction to your smile.
Kwame,
smile is very infectious.
Kwame.
So when somebody is smiling at you, you may end up smiling back.
By the way, I didn't smile.
You smiled.
I actually frowned when you yet you
smiled. Today.
Kwame,
but Nana Addo Akufo-Addo
when I
is a better manager of the economy than the NDC.
Do you disagree? When I listen to you make such statements, I begin to wonder where principles have actually gone, because I know you to be a very principled journalist.
Mischief?
Or perhaps Machiavelli's statement has actually caught up with you. That human beings are greedy of wants. And maybe I'll substitute human beings to journalists. Journalists are greedy of wants and needy of gains. As long as you shower your blessings upon them, they are always.
I think that it will be most unfair with the greatest respect to you, Honorable.
I'm saying that when you
say that NPP has not done anything at all. I mean, that is my point. My position is that you cannot sit here and say that they've done absolutely nothing.
I haven't even started. Now, I haven't even started. Now you are suggesting that is what I'm going to say.
No, because I indicated that they are the better managers of the economy.
Well, you asked my brother a question, and he wondered why, with all this mess, we are not witnessing the noise
Yes, yeah.
and the agitations, and he wondered, and that if this thing had happened under the NDC, clearly it would have gone beyond noise. I mean, there would have been chaos in this country. No, they don't have. They don't have any special mechanism. They have.
Let me make his point.
The tactics they've actually developed is what is described as McCarthyism, and McCarthyism was about 14th or 15th century strategy, which was used in the Western world to shut up people who are critical. Tactics? Not necessarily Machiavellian. To shut up people who are critical of the system. And even in the 16th century, McCarthyism was actually indeed employed by if you like, dictatorial leaders, you know, who wanted to have their way. And knowing very well that people would raise issues and questions, they shut you up. And that is the strategy this government is using. Journalists who are critical of this government will be attacked by their colleague journalists. That is what happens. Come out today to criticize this government, and your own journalists will. We know journalists who have built houses at Mataiko within the MPP 4 years. And if you ask how much their salaries are, they will not be able to have any evidence, and they can't prove to anybody how they came by those houses. And we know what happened at Peduasi Lodge in the wake of the Ajapa deal. We know those who were actually taken to Peduasi Lodge and how much was given to them. We are aware of some of these things. So that is the strategy they have taken. And clearly, Machiavelli's statement suits in very well in our case. The clergy is not talking. I mean, they know the right thing, they won't talk. You know, politicians are not talking. And let me admit that, yes, you may have some of these politicians, even within the NDC. People are bought, clearly. And for me, that is the frustration. Everybody wants money. But I value the NDC's interests, not just as just a political party, but it serves the interests of many people. There are several people who are adherents of the NDC, who live in the villages and many parts of this country, who never dream to hold ministerial appointment or any appointment in the NDC should the NDC come to power. But they are just comfortable and happy seeing the NDC being in power. Now, we twirl with the aspirations and the sensibilities of these people. And that is why I say that some of us would avoid the largesse. I don't think if I want money from the people, they won't give me. I believe that strongly they would. But they won't attempt to come closer to me, because if you come, I would expose you. And for me, that has been something that many of our people have failed to do. So they have their way, using the clergy with money, using, you know, the McCarthyism I have said, sometimes threats that you find journalists who says that if you criticize them, they threaten you. We have had their own journalist, Captain Smart, who is an MPP activist and who admitted, saying on national television, what happened to him. They threatened owners of media houses for critical journalism of this administration. And those journalists behind the microphone who holds their own and are critical of this administration have been targeted. So that is one thing. Now, KOD, if you want to find out the proper assessment of this government, I think that I will just reduce it to 2 or 3. I'll look at 1, the economy. I'll look at 2, the governance, you know, structure. And the economy, let me just focus on energy, since my brother also talked about energy. And it is important that your viewing public get these figures very clearly. We had energy crisis. We have always had energy crisis in this country. And as a matter of fact, the energy crisis in this country predated the NDC. If you observed, the beginning of the cause of energy crisis in this country started by Nana Ado's father. Do you know that? Yes. When they unjustifiably and criminally overthrew Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the first thing they did, go read, and I will challenge many people to read the 7-year development plan of Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Initially it was 5 years, which was made 7 years. There was a comprehensive strategy to take care of our energy needs in the next 50 years. There was a comprehensive strategy. Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, who was described as a socialist or who tilted towards the center left, and America, everybody knows, was extreme right, yet he brokered a deal with the American government to get the Akosombo Dam. Now, he was a pragmatic center leftists. And that is why I challenge my friend in CPP that they don't own Nkrumah than us. Nkrumahism goes beyond, to be very honest, Nkrumahism goes beyond the shores of Ghana. It's an ideology that is global. So when we begin to say that we are Nkrumah, they say you are not. Nkrumahism goes beyond that. Now, if you look at what Nkrumah did, when he got the Akosombo, we knew that Akosombo had the capacity to provide our energy needs as a country within a shorter time. So Nkrumah knew that, and he had, in fact, which included atomic energy, which included thermal, a whole lot of. Now, when they overthrew nuclear energy, when they overthrew Nkrumah, the first thing they did, all this agreement and plans were abrogated. And in fact, Nkrumah had commissioned the writing of an African encyclopedia. They virtually finished writing the African encyclopedia. What happened? They bent it. I remember when we were in office, I spoke about Nkrumah's books that were bent on the campus of University of Ghana, rather shamelessly. And you had the then Vice Chancellor, may his soul rest in peace, who supervised the burning of the book. When I made that statement, you had the family, the children wrote to the president, then I was the Deputy Minister for Information, to get me dismissed as a Deputy Minister. Because Nkrumah didn't have family who would come and defend him. And this was a statement of fact that Nkrumah's books were bent on the forecourt of University of Ghana campus, but through the supervision of the Vice Chancellor and many other people, including the government. So the beginning of the energy crisis of this country started with Nana Ado's father. He was the president after they overthrew Nkrumah in 1969 when they had the elections. So he supervised the beginning of the energy crisis in this country. Now you had subsequent leaders who did everything possible to fix this. And what we have had has been the knee-jerk response. And if you observe, almost every 7 to 10 years we experience energy crisis. Now, let me zero it to former President Rawlings. He came with the BUI. The BUI, many people do not know, the BUI have been in our books even before independence. And on Nkrumah, indeed, if you read the 7-year development plan, all these things were factored into there. So he did that. President Kufuor came, the same doomsday we experienced. He felt that he needed to start the BUI. Now, but let me just zero it to what President Mahama did. Professor Mills, President Mahama, NDC, what they did, continued with what President Mahama did and what we are experiencing today. President Mahama, then Prof. Mills and President Mahama then realized that, look, then Prof. Milko, he was the president. We didn't need to have this knee-jerk response. Let's find a lasting solution to the energy crisis. Now, I remember having represented my minister at cabinet sometimes, these issues came up, and President Mahama took a transigent position. Regardless the electoral consequences of this doomsday, we must find a lasting solution to it. Our capacity as a state was nothing to write home about. If you observed, Akosombo has 1,120 megawatts capacity, yet we were producing 360. The PON had 180 capacity, yet it was producing 60. You had BUI, which had 400 megawatts, yet it was producing 200. So if you observed, the thermal plants for generation and also the hydro, if you combine all, which will give us 100%, could not, because they were all producing the energy below capacity. And you know, Akosombo, it has to do with the levels of water and, you know, financial challenges. Now, President Mahama, having realized it, came with Ameri, came with Car Power, came with AXA, and in fact, Amandi, and you remember that Amandi, which was supposed to start in June 2017, because the projections were that win elections. Now we're also getting gas from Nigeria. So if your mouth is in someone's kitchen, if he doesn't want you to eat, you won't eat. So President Mahathir, Atobo gas was then also went into to ensure that we're independent of the supply of our own gas into this country. Now, in 2015, the NDC government signed the ENI, agreement, which is now a bone of contention. The problems we have, government is telling us that they are asking them to resolve it, as if we don't have a stake in it. If this thing is affected, it affects this nation. It tells you how reckless and irresponsible this government is. It's a private entity, private, companies are having the engagement, allow them to settle it in our country, our resources, which would have huge consequences on the people of this country. So President Mahama did this. Now we realize that there was a lot of energy sector levy, debts. Tor and others had this huge debt that were also affecting not only administration but their delivery of these essential services to us. Now, President Mahama then established the ESLA, the Energy Sector Levy Debt. ESLA was able to pay the debts of some of these energy companies. And in fact, in 2016, ECG made a profit of 725 million Ghana cedis. 2016. Gridco made a profit of 69 million Ghana cedis. They were able to pay the debt and even started making profit. Netco made a loss of 1.39 million. Remember, Netco was making a loss of 7 million of cedis. As a result of ESLA, ECG made a profit of 725 million. Gridco made a profit of 69 million. Netco reduced the losses that they were making to 1.39 million. When MPP took over, KOD, in fact, what they did was that they mortgaged 4.7 billion Ghana cedis of the ESLA money to get this euro, the Ken bond. That was what they did. Something they criticized President Mahama, they described as incompetent. What he established that was able to pay the debts of the energy sector debts. They were even using that money for the purposes of getting loans to chop. Now, I'll tell you another shocking aspects. By 2016, ECG that made a profit of 725 million Ghana cedis in 2016. 2017 made a loss of 521 million. From profit to a loss, 2017. Gridco, which made a profit of 69 million Ghana cedis in 2016, made a loss of 31 million in 2017. Netco, which made a loss, which reduced its losses to just 1.39 million in 2016. In 2017, they made a loss of 10 million Ghana cedis. And in fact, in 2018, ECG rose from the 521 million to 2 billion as I talk to you today. The losses are just unacceptable. 2017, Gridco, which made a profit of 69 million in 2016, in 2017 made a loss of 212 million. Netco made a loss of 203 million. So you see, it is very clear in terms of managing the economy, even with the energy sector, the NDC stands tall. As a matter of fact, DUMSO was solved by the NDC. In fact, courtesy to the former Minister for Energy, who himself said that yes, President Mahama solved the DUMSO. And courtesy to my senior brother, who sees nothing wrong with peddling falsehood and lying, Dr. Baumia, when he was pushed by another MPP-friendly media house, what he said was that we shouldn't give President Mahama any credit for solving DUMSO, that President Mahama and the NDC created DUMSO, so why must we give them credit for solving DUMSO? So the list said about the management, the better managers of the economy of this country, the better. So yet still, because there is no money. And in fact, they were supposed to have a correction of some of the words. You remember? Now, if people are now telling us, and I heard you also rather curiously talked about the fact that the challenges because of because of the challenges of the global economy. Why? Since when have we started experiencing challenges of global economy? We have been experiencing it. We had Iraq, we had conflict, which affected almost everything. Now, COVID. Ghana was not the only country that experienced COVID. In fact, within the West African sub-region, many countries were the hardest hit than us. None of them went to the IMF to borrow $2 billion. None of them went to the World Bank to borrow $100 million. Yet, the funds that were established by President Mahama, this government dipped their hands into those funds. They still cannot account for the money. They used the COVID money to do campaign in the 2020 elections. That for me is significant. But let me that? It is very clear.
How?
When they were distributing money under the name of COVID fund, they were giving the monies to people. Perhaps that was the monies they gave to some of the NDC people to go and vote. But
they created avenues for small.
They can still. They gave the people the money. Look, they can't get a dime. They gave the people the money without any structure. And in fact, they caused the current minister for tourism. The business minister, and I told him in Parliament, he was the one internally distributing the money internally central. That was what they did. Now let's talk even about employment. The purposes or the purpose for any economic policy is to improve the lot of your people. What is critical in our developmental trajectory as a state and as a people is to create the needed jobs for our people. Go to the ILO website. In 2016, the unemployment rate in this country was about 6.7. No, 6.6. And in fact, in 6.7 in 2016. So the necessary steps that were taken by the NDC government under President Mahama to create the needed jobs. You won't, when you in fact, in creating jobs and economics, you can't implement a policy and expect the results of that policy, regardless how short or medium term it is, to get the results. In 2017, as a result of the policy initiative to create the needed jobs for the people, the youth of this country, the unemployment rate, which was 6.7 in 2016, reduced to 6.6 in 2017. So what it means is that what the NDC did in 2016 started bearing fruit in 2017. Today, I just checked, the unemployment rate in this country is 6.8. So,
but
so in terms of
2016, it was still 6.8.
No, 6.7.
No, it was 6.8.
Check.
I have the
in 2017. 2017, what was it?
Ghana unemployment rate from 2018 to 2020.
No, I'm talking of 2000.
2016, it was 6.8.
2017, it was what?
2017. Okay, so 2017 was 6.6.
Exactly. So that it reduced.
Right.
So it reduced. What happens is that granted
and then went up.
Exactly, and it is going up
from 2018.
Exactly, and it is not even going up. So what I'm simply saying
now
is
it's
that
at 6.8.
So if 6.8. So if it was 6.8 in 2016. And what we did in 2016, that resulted to the reduction in 2017. So the reduction of the unemployment rate in 2017 was not the work of the... In fact, it happened sometime around June. And certainly within 6 months, you could not. So it was what the NDC did that yielded the results in 2017. Ever since, it's been increasing. Now, the reason why it is, NAPCO, another fat lie which we were fed in this country. Look, there is a violation, a criminal act that is perpetrated by this government with NAPCO. I have been a deputy national coordinator for the National Youth Employment Program. Now, President Mills of blessed memory gave a directive, and he insisted, and I remember at that time, youth employment program, when it was established under the MPP, they were getting money, some percentage from Get Fund, some from National Health Insurance. This is how they were getting the money. And that is why I oppose the Zoom Lion position, wanting to take money. Another danger to the economy of this country is the Zoom Lion. And I'll state it publicly. Now, when we oppose it, President Mills then said, let's take a percentage of the communication service tax for the purposes of youth employment program. That gives the program over hundreds of millions of Ghana cedis every month. Mind you, anytime more and more people get onto the telecommunication sector, either mobile phones, the percentage that goes to National Youth Employment Program would increase. You know what they did? This was done through an act of parliament. NAPCO was also passed through an act of parliament. They are now using NYEP money for NAPCO, which is illegal. You cannot use NYP's money. If you want that, you go to parliament and have that included. Let me just finish.
I want to take you back a little bit.
30 seconds. So if you come and look at that challenge, you have a problem. Now, KOD, another very important thing. The reason why the NAPCO was a complete, what's the name? Scam on the people of this country. NAPCO is good. Don't get me wrong. Now, if they claim that they were recruiting 100,000 people, 100,000. Okay, that's what they claim. And they stated that they were paying each person 700 Ghana cedis a month. Is that not the case? Multiply 100,000 by 700 Ghana, it will give you 70 million a month. If you multiply 70 million by 12, it will give you 840 million. Go and check the 2018 financial statement. The amount of money for NAPCO was 400 million. So that was a lie. And in fact, I was thinking that when they had the mid-year budget, they could factor into mid-year budget NAPCO Yamutu. They never mentioned NAPCO. So it was a scam. The reason why they haven't been able to reduce the unemployment, what happened with NAPCO was nothing but absolute robbery. What they were doing, and it's important I make this point, what they were doing is that they were using those things for political purposes.
I would beg to differ on that, because if you look at the very statistics we're referring to, and this is tradingeconomics.com, everybody can Google it and check. Ghana unemployment rate. This one spans from 2010 to 2020, so that's a 10-year period. Now, if you look at 2020, that's 2012. That's when we started seeing unemployment rate, rising, right? So, for instance, if you look at the statistics, if you check 2015, it was 6.8.
No, but yeah.
It was from 2010, it was 5.8.
Yeah, and it's
then went to 6.
Yeah.
Then 2014, it moved. Sorry, 2013, it moved to 6.4.
Yeah.
Then 2014, it moved from 6.4.5 thereabouts.
Down to 2016.
Then 2015, it moved to 6.8. Then 2016, 6.8. 2017, it dropped to 6.6.
And then it started.
Then 2018, it started rising again. But the point I'm trying to establish is that we've never. I mean, if you look at the if you look at the differences, if you look at where NDC took the unemployment rate,
please, you are getting it.
No, I'm not getting it wrong.
You know why you are getting
it's
it?
It's a continuum.
You know why you are getting it?
Because you are telling me that you addressed the unemployment rate in 2016.
Hold on. Do you know where you are getting?
But I'm saying that you picked.
Do you know where you are getting?
Hold on. You picked it from 5.8.
Yes.
And as of 2016, you pushed it to 6.8.
Okay. Okay.
And then it dropped. Yes. Then it dropped.
1%.
Hold on.
Yes. Then it dropped a little bit. Right in 2017 to 6.6.
Kody, do you know what?
And then it went up.
Do you know why you are getting it wrong? If you want to go by that logic, then we must as well go to even after independence. You see, at any point in time, you would have unemployment being a challenge to any economy.
Yes.
So if you want us to go that at a point we didn't even have unemployment. At a point.
Chief,
hold on. Can I finish?
Chief,
can I finish?
Oh, let's move. No, because
hold on. Okay. Do you know why you are getting?
Let me grant you.
No, don't grant me. I want to prove to you why you are wrong.
Let me prove. Okay, let's do 24.
No, let me prove to you why you are getting it wrong.
When did they
hold on. Let me prove to you.
So let's look at
no, exactly. 2008. That's the point. You see, the reason why we are talking about 2016, we are talking about two administrations, and we are talking about the last year of this administration. How was unemployment, which was 6.8? Now, you agree with me that the policy interventions to address the issues of unemployment cannot yield the results that same year. So if the NDC, it was 6.8, 2017 somewhere June, the report that came out was that it reduced. It certainly could not have been the work of the MPP in 2017.
Because you had already taken it to 6.8.
That's not, listen. Do you know why you are getting it wrong?
I'm not getting it wrong.
And the MPP, hold on. At some point, it is 6.8. It is 6.8 now. If this government puts in the necessary measures, we may have a reduction of unemployment, maybe perhaps to 4.something.
Yes.
Now the following year, if it increases and reduces, that, if you check even the figure,
it
reduces. So what we are simply doing to do a proper intellectual analysis of comparison of the two administrations. We take the last year of this administration, what was the percentage? What was the percentage ever since? So that is how you do an intellectual analysis. But if you want to go back and say that the NDC came to power in 2009, don't stop at 2014. Go to 2009. You see, so please, it's been
I also think that you are not being charitable.
How?
With the truth, because
which is the truth?
Because we are all dealing with statistics. Unemployment is not.
I'll just ask you, Kody. I'll just ask you a simple Kody. In my statement, I indicated that every country faces problems of unemployment. I'm saying that if you want to go and start with 24, that's why he told you, then we must as well go back to 2009. That's the point.
You are not getting my
you are not.
You want us to compare?
To compare.
I'm not comparing. He is making, but he's also comparing.
I am comparing. I am comparing
2016.
What we'll do is, let's use 8.
Yes, if you want us to do that.
Meaning that we'll use 2008
and 2008 to 2016.
Yeah, we can do that.
So you see, Kody, do you know why he's getting Kody? Assuming the NDC won elections in 2016, there would have been a reduction in 2017, right? Kody, there would have been a reduction. Hold on. If the NDC had won the elections in 2016 and the reduction from 6.8 to 6.6, who would you have given the credit to?
NDC.
Assuming that we had elections in 2017 and NDC lost. If you want to do analysis, if you are now agreed that under every administration it comes down, it goes up, right? Under every administration. If one administration tenure ends, and you want to do a comparison of that administration, how they manage it, you don't go back and take how it increased. You are talking about the last year of that. That's how you do a proper analysis. The last year of that administration, what was it's just an inflation.
What was the last year of NDC's administration?
In 2016.
In 2016, the unemployment rate was 6.8.
So that is why I said that in 2017, the result, somewhere June, it certainly could not have been the work of that government, because they hadn't even finished constituting their government. So you cannot give that to the MPP. Now, assuming the MPP loses elections, if they had lost the 2020 elections, and then NDC came into power, and then unemployment rate reduced in 2021, the NDC certainly could not be taking credit for that. That's the point I'm making. But don't distract me. Let me still make this very important point. Now, let's come to health. And I don't need to go anywhere. The justification for the robbery of this government is by using COVID. KOD. COVID hits every country.
Yeah.
None of the countries in Africa went in for the kind of monies that we went in for. Is that not the case? I don't need to go far. Frontier Health. KOD. Frontier Health. Frontier Health have never engaged in any of the things they are doing at the airport. They have never. They have no expertise. Noguchi has the capacity to do that. You had a doctor at Noguchi who granted an interview and said that what the Frontier Health was doing at the airport there was not a comprehensive COVID test, that it was an antigen test. And the man said, the doctor, he said that antigen test, the cost for engaging in that test is just between $15 to $20 or $15 to $25. KOD. This government allowed fraud to be perpetrated on the people of this country. What they simply did was that they, in fact, and by the way, the leader, the owner of the Frontier Health is wanted in Nigeria, that Nigerian. Yes. Because of the relationship they have with this government. They set up the company that same month without even a license. They were operating fraudulently. The Minister for Health, when he appeared before the appointment committee and he was being vetted, they asked him about Frontier Health, and he said that he was unaware of the operation and that they operated for 2 months without a license. This was what the minister himself said. KOD, I want to give you these statistics and let them come and deny that. Between September to December 2020, 235,000, KOD, listen.
I'm listening.
250 passengers used the airport and paid the compulsory sum of $150 for the test.
That's a lot.
If you multiply that, it gives you $35,287,500.
That's a lot of
yes, between September to December. Let them come out and deny this. I have been saying it, they won't deny, because you can't manipulate the figure. 235,250 passengers between September to December used the airport, and they all paid the compulsory sum of $150. Even diplomats were paying that money. That gives you $35,287,500. That money, you know what they did? That company opened an offshore account. They got a Nigerian bank. I have no problem with any Nigerian doing business in Ghana. Yeah. That bank recruited Ghanaians, graduates, and paid them less than 1,000 Ghana cedis, regardless the consequences of their actions, because they are the first people who made those.
So let's proceed.
So I'm just landing. So if you look at it,
a lot of time.
The reasons why this government stopped contact tracing and mass testing was because we didn't have money. Was that not the reason? Yeah. Yet Nanado and the wives and their friends are engaged in this fraud. That $35 million, Noguchi could have done that, Kolibu could have done that, 37. Ironically, the people they have employed to be doing the work are employees of Noguchi. That is what they have done. So I am saying that security, the list said about, when you talk about security, Masa, in 2018, the first quarter of 2018, the Ghana police, their report, they said that the armed robbery in this country, the first quarter of 2018 registered the highest level of armed robbery ever in the history of this country. So what are you talking about? This government has done abysmally. I think that, of course, they never won the elections. The security, the list said about it, people are now sleeping with one eye open. And thanks, if perhaps we should have listened to Kofi Kumsen, the owner of Chronicle, when he said that he could not sleep with Nanado, his bosom friend, being the president of the Republic of Ghana. I'm saying that, so I think he's being charitable to give them 3%. I think that will give them 0.1%. They are undeserving of anything beyond 0.1%.
So take the bar out here. So this is what we're talking about, the unemployment rate.
Yes.
From 2010 to 2020, 10-year period.
Good. So
the point I'm trying to establish is that if you look at 2016, we're hovering around 6.8, right? Yeah. And then 2017 it drops to 6.6. Yeah. 2018 it moves a notch higher. Yeah. Which is let's say 6.6. Let's say 6.67. And then 2019 it moves to 6.8. Is that also?
28, you see, take 2016.
Yes.
If you take 2016, it was 6.8. Okay? I can't.
2017 is the next one.
2017. No, 6.6.
That's 6.6.
Yes. So it means that everything you did, because in June you certainly could not have had the MPP having their policies that would translate to the result. So it was as a result of what President Muhammad did in 2016. So why is it that from that time it started?
See, the argument I was trying to make was that if you look at the year 2012,
then go back to 2018.
That is when. No, we're looking at 4 years. So that's
why are you reducing it to 4 years?
No. We're looking at. Even if you take, hold on. 2012 to 2016 is 4 years, no? So
no, why are you limiting it?
So I'm looking at a 4 year period.
What was the basis on which you?
Hold on. The last year, the last year, that MPP exited was when?
2008.
That's it. That's how
it's not even there.
So 2012 was in power.
NDC was in power in 2013. Because we won the elections in NDC was in power in 2012 because we won the elections in 2008, so 2009 up to. So that's why he was telling you. Then take 2000 to 2008 and take 2008 to 2016.
So from 2010 to 2014. Sorry, from 2011.
So look at one.
NDC till 2020.
So look at
is that not the case?
Yes. So look at one thing. 2016. You see,
2016.
KOD, do you know the reason why your analysis is wrong?
No, it's not.
No, it's wrong. No, it's wrong. Do you know why it is wrong? Do you know?
It's not wrong.
KOD.
It means that you people are bank managers.
It is not only. It is because KOD.
Because you have not done anything really.
Your analysis is not only wrong. It is unintellectual. You know why? It is unintellectual. You know why? No, I will. You know why? You know why I'll use that? Because you see, if you take MPP and ask MPP how the unemployment rate fares, MPP cannot go and take what's the name? 6.6. Because 6.6 up to, that is 2017, up to 2018, they were still in power. If MPP loses it, if MPP loses it, you even listen. If MPP loses elections in 2020, and MPP wins elections from 2020 to 2024, and NDC would only take, in doing an intellectual analysis, the last year of MPP, that is 2023. 2024, is that not it? What has been the unemployment rate? Then 2025, NDC inshallah is in power. You then take, so whatever then unemployment rate in 2025 will not, if it is positive, you can't attribute it to NDC. You can't attribute it to NDC.
He's not getting my.
I'm getting you.
You are not.
Moses has got you.
You are not.
You take the last year.
I am looking at, listen, you see, I'm not getting the point. I am looking at the percentage of increment in the rate of unemployment from 2012.
You want us to go there?
Oh, come on. That's the point I'm making. That's what I'm saying. That if you look at the percentage increase during the NDC,
how do you determine the percentage without the base?
Hold on. If you say that in 2017 it performed better because of the NDC, I'll grant you that. But let's look at the percentage increase from 2017 to 2018. How much is it?
Do you know why?
And from 2018 to 2020,
can I answer the question?
But look
can I answer the question?
Can
I answer the question?
Even in your own administration, from 2012 to 2016, look at the percentage.
Do you know why? Do you know why it is unintellectual?
That's the point I'm making. Because you don't understand what.
Do you know why it is unintellectual? Do you know why?
You don't understand what.
You don't determine percentage without the base. In 2012, what was the population of Ghana? you calculate your percentages, the figure below 100 times the total number. Now, hold on. It's not defeatist. Let me tell you, hold on. Will you even listen to me? You determine unemployment with population. That is how you calculate unemployment.
What was the population of Ghana?
The percentage, hold on, the 6.8% is the percentage of Ghanaians. And that percentage is driven. You take that number over 100 times the base. Are you getting what I'm saying? So if you take a percentage of 100, will not be the same as a percentage of 200. That is one thing you need to get.
Then
so if
perform better
so that is why it is appropriate to do an intellectual analysis. You take the last year, that is why it is appropriate to do an intellectual analysis. You take the last year of NDC and the first year of NPP. And I even admitted that if NDC won elections in 2024 and there is a reduction of unemployment from 2024 to 2025, NDC cannot claim credit because that would have been the policy intervention of the MPP in 2024. So it's the same thing. If unemployment was 6.8 in 2016 and reduced to 6.6, remember when the report came out, the NPP could not claim credit. It has to do with the intervention. So if you want to do a fair analysis, maybe perhaps you are uncomfortable with the intellectual, you are an intellectual, let's do a fair analysis. And I'm wondering whether Macapini has caught up. So if you want to do a fair analysis, take the last year.
I don't want to dwell on this.
Take the last year.
But certainly you appreciate what I'm saying.
No.
You see, you are looking at the base. Precisely. You are looking at the population.
Yes.
As the basis of your calculation. You cannot certainly compare 2016 population to that of 2020.
The numbers have been.
So if in 2016, your unemployment rate was 6.8 at the time. Obviously, the population was minimal, right? That's why you got Africa. Hold on. In 2017, it performs creditably well, right?
Because of what we did in 2016.
Because of what you did, I'll grant you that.
That's right. But
then it starts increasing, but it increases with an attending increment with population. So if in 2016, your unemployment rate was 6.8, and in 2020, which the unemployment rate is still 6.8, it's come to 6.8 with an attending increment in population, then it means that the MPP has even managed better than you.
That same argument of population can be made with 2012. But hold on.
But that's your argument.
I'm saying that same argument.
That's your argument.
Yes, that same argument you are making. Of course.
That's your argument.
Can be made with 2012.
Anyway, let me read a few messages. I mean, listen, this is
look, we need to find
No. This is, we're having an intellectual conversation. Your argument may not necessarily hold sway.
Yes, I agree.
I would prefer if you had
the last year.
We will get the brothers.
I'll bring you two of you a very good analysis of their best performance and worst performance.
Let me read a few of the messages. People are insulting, but it's okay.
Because they know that you are also defending what you shouldn't defend.
Anyway, KOD, you collapsed banks with 22 billion Ghana cedis and now going to France to beg for forgiveness from someone who is too young to be your grandson. Banana. Adam Brahma in Techiman, Bono East is saying that if the MPP claim they are performing better than Kwame Nkrumah, then I'm afraid of the future of Ghana. Or does these people really think? Ibrahim Washara says, KOD, are you seriously serious? The president has managed the economy well. KOD, you need a COVID test this morning.
You need to take the job.
Or you had fufu for breakfast. Oh, my brother.
Oh, Charlie.
KOD, 95% of Ghanaian journalists are all Mumu journalists. 100% of senior journalists, which are few, are also all Mumu journalists. African leaders have no shame. This is from Anafi Adams. African leaders have no shame. They went to France, enjoying the good system, even asking for debt forgiveness. If France would have been corrupt like they are, would they go there and enjoy the working system? They should fix their countries so that they can also hold a summit and invite the Western world. From Anafi in Tamale. KOD, his father was a ceremonial president for 11 months, yet he wants his father to be remembered more than Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Interesting. Ata Akainate says all this money is going into people's pockets. Salami Amadou Salam says KOD is a champion hypocrite. He's a paid agent of destruction.
Good.
NS Everlove Edinam Kwashi Akraka. The host KOD basic analysis and arguments on unemployment rate in Ghana is completely farcical, futures, and superlatively cosmetic. Interesting though. Yeah, you can also send a message. I'll read all of them. Me, I know more. Honorable has ended up creating the impression that I've been paid by but it's okay.
You created them. In fact, you didn't even.
No, you created it.
You accused Parliament and took money.
Good morning, Kwame. To be honest with you, I can't agree with your argument. This government has performed abysmally in all aspects of the economy. This one is from Johnny in Adenta. This is Jonas Agbedo from Akwaboso. Wow, NBC man is very good. Continue to educate Ghanaians how this government. Okay, right. Champion, how can a government use 20 million Ghana cedis to close banks, and you will go and borrow 170 million euros for Bank of Ghana to open a bank? Even with COVID money's donation could have been used for this bank if you wanted to open it. James from Kumasi sent in this one. The horse is making the show boring. This one is from Jamal Bolga. Sorry, I think the NDC should learn to appreciate opposing views. KOD, relax for Honorable Mutala to make his point. I mean, you are interrupting him.
Yes.
I'm sure if I was interrupting an NPP person, he would praise me. Greetings, boss. The NPP's claim that it has performed better than all governments, including Osaje for the Tukam Nkrumah, is not the problem. The problem, however, is you big guys wasting your time discussing that nonsense of a claim. What impudence! You could have just ignored the madness. Else you are corrupted of same. I just can't think for Dennis why Akwete. My brother sent in this. So good morning to you, KOD. I wonder why some Ghanaians still defend another's government. Regards to Comrade Murtala Mohammed, MP for Tamale Central. Osman sends this one in from Tamale. This one says the MPP should stop comparing their government to Nkrumah's government. This Nanado's government can never be compared to any government in the history of Ghana, not even that of his fathers. They are like the devil who will give you something with the right hand and take it with the left hand. In fact, I will score them -7/10. My name is Ghana is Bleeding from Akachi in the Volta region. I want Murtala Mohammed's number. I'll let him put it out. From 2012 to 2016, Ghana was in doom, so definitely unemployment will rise. Nanado is a failure. He should fix the country, but NDC has betrayed their supporters. Saibu Pache.
That is a fact.
This one says all belies. All belies. This one says, my regards to you, remember my brother. Bogobire Alwasie. I hope I got it right.
Bogobire.
Kwame, tell the incompetent government to pay NAPCO to release their April allowance. Yeah. The government is not ready to okay, help got it something. Come in, just find out whether the graduates are able to save something. Mr. TJ sent in this one. A rise in the inflation rate means prices are rising at a faster rate. In the short run, it is more likely that the central bank will increase interest rates to moderate the inflation rate. A higher inflation rate could cause greater uncertainty amongst business, leading to lower investment, while very low inflation usually signals demand for goods and services is lower than it should be. Upoko from Techiman sent in this one. Positive change in Medina. Akufo-Addo and his minister spent close to 21 billion cedis to just collapse. But I think everybody is talking about that. You say your regards to Francis Sosu. Good morning, Pan-African TV. You are the only station now in Ghana working hard. The real fact is that Kumno TV station can never match Pan-African TV. Also, the guys with you this morning are on point. Timothy Agalik in Tamale sent it. Good morning, Kwame. This is Manu from Pillar 2. The Honorable Murtala Mohammed has the facts, so allow him to make his point. Hey, Charlie.
Today you are heckling me.
I swear. This is Rufai from Brigi. MPP government unemployment. Finance minister refused to give clearance to GES to post teachers. Good morning to you, Kwame. The Nanado-led administration has disappointed Ghanaians as well as the personnel of the Ghana National Fire Service. Kwame, last year rent allowance to date has not been paid. Yes, I need your number for somebody. Please, can I borrow your pen? Because somebody was asking for your number yesterday. Let me just write your number and then make sure I give it to the person. Okay, right.
Go down right.
I will. Oscar Lima India says, okay, KOD, this is where you get it wrong. To use the persistent rise of unemployment to judge as bad performance of the NDC, you need to tell us how the rate of unemployment was 20 years ago and who were the managers of the economy then. Divide it into 2, 10 years each, and then look through which government had the most years and how many people were unemployed during those years. Then you could cause anyone of mishandling it. However, Mutale's point still stands. Donald Trump did nothing in office. Everyone knows that. But enjoy the good policies of the Obama's administration. Now Lamle Odate Lamte says, you have really disappointed me, KOD.
Better.
Oh, my people.
Now Lamle, thumbs up.
Yes, MPP did not win these elections. Please tell the Electoral Commissioner to pay us our money and stop the hypocrisy. Kofi from Kumasi said, listen, my time is up. I have to go. Yeah, I have to go. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a nice day. Salute. Bye-bye.
Palestine, I thought that we could talk about Palestine.